Today we are going to be installing a tint visor on a 2016 Polaris XP 900. Stay tuned. Hey guys, so today we are working on a 2016 Polaris Ranger XP 900. What we're going to be doing is putting a window tint or a tint ribbon, I know these are called a few different things, but a tint visor up on the top, about roughly third or quarter of the windshield. From sitting inside of it and just taking a look at where we want it, I know on cars there's a little line here for where you can, basically you can't go below with a visor tint. On these Polaris Rangers, they obviously don't have that. So just basically from looking inside, measuring down about 6 inches on each side was a pretty good spot to work with. So we're gonna come down 6 inches and basically get the tint going from there. So when I was looking online, kind of trying to decide what I wanted for tint, I ended up getting a ceramic 3M 5% window tint. The ceramic, I don't know if it's really necessary for this install, but at least it will block out all the UV protection. You won't feel any heat coming in. Obviously it's not going to be the whole windshield, so you're still going to have heat coming in, but it won't be coming in from where the sun will hopefully be beaming in. So I went out on Amazon and I bought just some cheap tools. I got some soapy water, a couple microfiber rags, and a scrub brush that you just use for normal washing dishes. I was kind of debating whether to take the windshield off or leave it installed. However, looking at how this is and the window film is going to be sitting on top, I'm thinking I'll have to take the windshield off. So I guess I'll start with that. So this is the Lock and Ride front glass window. So with these, it's just pretty simple. Unclip these on this side, same thing on the other side. Two over here. And it's pretty simple. You just kind of lift up on the bottom and it pops out. And you can just carry it over. And I have these two clamps set up here just to kind of keep it in place, just so it's not going to go anywhere. So right now I have the exterior of the window showing toward me. That's kind of what I'm going to use to get my template made up for the tint. So I guess I'm going to start with thoroughly cleaning this front part of the windshield. And once we get the windshield clean, then we can start mocking up the tint to it. And for this, I'm just basically getting all the bugs off the outside here. I'm just using this hard plastic card. Seems to be working pretty well. Just going back to any places where I see some extra bugs or any dirt that need to get taken off. And it's not too important to clean the entire windshield, just the top half where the visor is actually going to be. Once everything is in place, said and done, we'll come back and just do a full cleaning of the entire inside and outside of the window. All right, so that looks pretty clean. Don't see anything there. Just gonna take a microfiber over that again. Just clean up any extra dust that might be there. So when we were sitting in the Ranger in the driver's seat, I was doing all of my measurements outside from the very top of window. In case you were wondering, it's not to the dot matrix, it's actually what I was measuring was the top of the window, and that was coming down 6 inches, so just right about there. What I'm gonna do, just for ease of cutting here, is I'm just gonna take some of this white tape that I have laying around. I'm just gonna mark that right at 6 inches on this weather stripping. This is just going to be a point of reference. I'm obviously going to come back to this and make sure that my measurements are good, but just for the initial lining up. So the top layer that I'm holding here on top is the adhesive layer, so that's actually what's going to be face up, and then once we have it all ready to cut out, we're going to flip the windshield over, and then this piece is going to come and basically be directly underneath and mirroring it. Alright, just going to get this all wetted down nicely. Alright, and once I have the rough size that I want, which I know it's overlapping on this side past the dot matrix, and overlapping on this side past the dot matrix, I'm just going to give this a cut straight down, just to cut off the excess. So, alright. So I just got it like tacked in with the squeegee, just so it's not falling down, sliding around too bad on me, so I can actually see what I'm doing. So again, same as I did on the sides, I'm going to just get the top portion in a rough estimate where I can cut it down, but just not so it's so much I can't work with. And I am going to get this pretty close, just so if in the event that I screw this up, I will have enough on the piece that I'm cutting off to do this over again. Basically, if you can see my lines here from where I put this tape, I'm a couple inches lower than that, but that's gonna give me plenty of extra to work with. So then at this point, I'm just going to take my razor and cut along the top. And again, this is still a rough cut. Okay. Now one of the things that is going to help me out here right now, so I have a lot of light coming down on the outside. That's kind of the opposite of what I'm going to want when I'm actually trimming out, because right now, I'm not sure if you can see this, but looking through this, it's really hard to track the dot matrix and getting this cut out the way I'm going to want it. So I'm going to put a light up underneath here, and I can move that around to, depending on where I'm at, but I should be able to see a lot better. And if I really need to, I can bring it a lot closer while I'm cutting, and I can see those lines. So I'm going to cut this down just a little bit more so it's in the window. There we go, so it's just not overhanging at all. Basically this weather stripping at the very top here is what I'm going to follow my blade across when I go all the way across this thing. So we'll go ahead and do that now. it's a little stick or a little tacky there, so I'm just going to get a little bit more water underneath this. So at this point now, I'm actually going to get it placed on the bottom section exactly where I want it to be. So now that I have it at least mocked up with these lines at this point, I'm really not going to be using those. I'm going to be using more of an exact measurement. So just coming from this side, just going to go ahead and get to exactly 6 inches, and I'm going to take the squeegee and just kind of tack it there just a little bit, just so when I'm moving the other side, it's not going to be moving like crazy on me. But this side's just going to pull it up a hair. Now that I moved that end, I'm just going to come back here and check this one, make sure it didn't move, which it looks like it's good. Okay. So now at least I have my bottom line here, which is what I'll be able to work with, and I'll be able to cut around the dot matrix through this whole piece now. Alright guys, so I went and grabbed a little bit more powerful flashlight than what I had originally. Just for this next cutting part, I feel like I'm going to want to have maximum brightness for looking under here. So I don't know if you guys can see that a little bit better, but I can definitely see this dot matrix way better to be able to follow that along. Alright, so I guess at this point, yeah, it's just a matter of following dot matrix, so it's just going to be cutting right where that starts all the way around. Okay, so then once you're happy with that, now we're just gonna peel this back off and then just get ready to apply it to the other side. So I'm just gonna set this over here, and now we just need to flip over the window to the other side. I'm just going to turn these around here so they're just out of the way. So at this point, going to clean the inside of this window probably 2 to 3, maybe even 4 times, just to get this completely spotless. There's a lot of dirt up in the stripping here. Make sure that's all cleaned off, even though the tint's not going to be up there. Just want to make sure if anything does nick it, it's not going to get contaminate on the film. Let's get this good spray down here. I was taking the scratch pad. Okay, so now we got a good clean surface. I know getting that protective paper, separating that from the actual window film can be kind of difficult. One of the best ways that I saw online to do this was to bite the two pieces down with your teeth just gently and kind of grit your teeth back and forth until that film piece separates where you can just pick it off with your finger. So we're just gonna give that a try and see how well that works. Okay, looks like we're getting it here. Okay, so now we got that, at least we can give this all a good spray down. All right. Let's get that placed in there with the water. If you got enough water in there, you'll be able to manipulate this a bit. Then while that is all still wet, I'm just gonna come back here with my tape measure like we did before and just make sure I'm at my 6-inch mark, which I'm pretty well off right now. Bring that down just a hair. Try that again. Okay, that's really close. It's at 6 inches. That's at 6 inches. Okay. Just spray. Squeegee and just lightly squeegee this down just so it doesn't move. We're just trying to tack it down right now. Okay, so now it really shouldn't move too easy on us. No, it's not really moving at all, which is exactly what we want. Now that I've done that, I'm just gonna go back quick, do a double check. It's exactly 6 inches. It's exactly 6 inches. Okay. Put this down one more time. Now we're putting a little more pressure on this. I'm just going to go over this a few times just to make sure I can get all of the air bubbles out. Especially in these little corners here. And if it gets a little sticky with the squeegee, just throw some more water on top. That's not going to hurt anything. And on these edges here, I'm just going to actually come in with a smaller hard squeegee. Just make sure I get those really well sat down in there. All right, I have a clean and dry microfiber towel here that I'm just coming back with. Just checking for any extra bubbles, which I see a couple in there, so I'm just gonna come back with a harder squeegee. And just work out any other bubbles that are in there. One thing you can do if you have a fairly curved window is using a heat gun on the top and the bottom will help shrink the tint, which will allow you to kind of squeegee it down and it'll conform to the window a little bit better. Now I'm just going to go back through and kind of do a full clean of just the inside of the whole entire window here. I'm leaving this cell phone holder in. It's got one of those friction held securing mounts, so I don't really want to cause any wear down to that mount here, so we'll just leave that. Okay, so with that being done, I will go ahead and mount the windshield back onto the Ranger. I will worry about washing the outside of the window once it's on. It'll be easier to work with. And this goes back in just like it came out. Putting the top portion in first and pushing it all the way back up into place, and then letting it slide back down, go back inside. Back in. Now we can clean the outside of the window. All right, that looks pretty nice. Take a look at what it looks like from the inside. So yeah, you can see, at least from my line of sight, it's not blocking where I'm actually driving. So 6 inches down seemed to be pretty good. I don't know if I would want to come any lower than that. But yeah, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I do plan on continuing to do other upgrades and modifications to this Ranger. I also have a few other projects that I will be working on, so stay tuned. Thanks.